Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into James Clear's huge bestseller, Atomic Habits, to really unpack a simple but incredibly powerful truth: that the most amazing results in our lives don't come from huge changes, but from the smallest, most invisible ones.
Okay, so let's just dive right in with a question that I think for most of us is gonna feel, well, a little too familiar. You start the year with all this motivation, right? But then a few weeks later, you're pretty much right back where you started. So what is going on there?
Well, the answer, it turns out, has almost nothing to do with a lack of willpower. It's that we fundamentally misunderstand how progress actually works. We fall into what the book calls the valley of disappointment.
And this graph, man, this just illustrates the problem perfectly. We expect our results to be a nice, neat, straight line. The more work we put in, the more progress we see. But in reality, the real results of our efforts are delayed. So we're working hard, we're seeing nothing, and we get discouraged, usually right before we hit that breakthrough moment where all our efforts were about to compound.
And right there, that's the core mistake. We think we need to make some kind of huge, heroic effort to change our lives. But Clear argues that our obsession with these big, earth-shattering goals is exactly why we so often fail.
So if big goals are the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's this beautifully simple, almost counterintuitive idea: the power of tiny, almost invisible gains.
And this brings us to the atomic habit. The word atomic here has a cool double meaning. First, like an atom, it's an extremely small, fundamental unit. But second, it's also a source of immense power. We're talking about a tiny 1% improvement that on its own seems completely insignificant.
A 1% improvement. Yeah, doesn't sound like much, does it? But this is where the math gets absolutely wild. If you get just 1% better each day for a year, the compound effect is staggering. You don't end up a little bit better, you end up 37 times better. That's the power of compounding right there. Tiny, almost unnoticeable daily changes leading to a truly transformative result.
This leads to a really critical shift in perspective. We need to forget about goals and focus on systems. Think of it this way: a goal is cleaning your messy room once. It's a momentary change. A system is the simple process of tidying up for 5 minutes a day. That's what ensures the room stays clean for good. Goals are about winning the game, but systems are about continuing to play.
So how do we actually build these systems? Well, first, we need to understand the machine that's running our habits in the background. And it turns out to be a simple 4-step pattern that your brain follows for every single thing you do automatically, whether it's good or bad.
Now, at first glance, this looks like a pretty straightforward process. It all starts with the cue, which leads to a craving that prompts a response, and finally, you get a reward. Let's think about your phone. The little buzz in your pocket, that's the cue.
So that cue creates the craving to know what the notification is. Your response is to pick up the phone and check it, and the reward is satisfying that little hit of curiosity. Cue, craving, response, reward. Every single habit follows this exact structure.
But here's the real insight: it's not a finish line. That reward reinforces the entire behavior, making you much more likely to repeat it the next time you get the cue. It's a neurological feedback loop that runs on autopilot, shaping your daily actions without you even realizing it. So, if the habit loop is the machine, how do you take control? How do you get in the driver's seat instead of just being a passenger? Well, that's where the 4 laws of behavior change come in. They're basically the user manual for your brain.
And this table just lays out the entire system beautifully. Each law corresponds to one step of that habit loop, and it gives you a simple lever to pull. To build a good habit, you make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the response easy, and the rewards satisfying. And to break a bad habit, you just invert the laws. You make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. Simple as that.
So for that first law, make it obvious, you can give your habit a specific time and place to live. Or even better, you can use something called habit stacking. So for example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. Your existing habit, the coffee, becomes the super obvious cue for the new one. It's genius.
Now, to make a habit easy, which is the third law, the absolute best way to start is with the 2-minute rule. Just shrink any new habit down so it takes less than 2 minutes to do. So read every night becomes read 1 page. You're not worried about the outcome yet, you're just mastering the art of showing up.
And that brings us to the 4th and final law: make it satisfying. This is the cardinal rule of behavior change. Our brains are wired to prioritize immediate rewards over long-term ones. So to make a good habit stick, you have to feel immediately successful.
The long-term rewards of exercise will come later, but you need a small, satisfying win today to keep you coming back tomorrow.
So we've got the laws, we know how to build better systems, but what's the ultimate goal here? This framework isn't just about tweaking your behaviors, it's about something much, much deeper.
And this is probably the deepest insight of the whole book. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. The ultimate goal of building better habits isn't just to get a result. It's to become a different person.
You don't just want to write a book, you want to become a writer. Each time you sit down to write, even for just 2 minutes, you are casting a vote for your writer identity. Your habits are literally how you embody a particular identity. Over time, you're not just faking it, you're becoming it.
And ultimately, that's the real power of atomic habits. They're not just about changing what you do, they're a direct pathway to changing who you are. So the question isn't just about what you want to achieve, but who. Who do you want to be? And that's an idea worth exploring.